Hi, hi everyone. My name is Olubukola Atriga, and I'm here to share with you my panacea to cancer growth. That is what I've been able to use over the course of years, I should say decades, while noticing maybe tumors or cancerous growth in my system. First and foremost, I would like to say my solution from the word go has always been bitter leaf. Now, bitter leaf is a vegetable in, I would say, sub-Saharan Africa, but from where I come from, Nigeria and the Yoruba tribe, bitter leaf is literally a bittersweet vegetable. It's not just an oxymoronic statement. It's actually a bittersweet vegetable. In other words, if you want to use bitter leaf as a vegetable, you've got to eat it using the sweet taste. But if you have to get the medicinal effect from it, then the bitter taste and the bitter leaf would be what you have to have recourse to. Otherwise, you will not be able to get the results that I've gotten over the course of decades. So, bitter leaf is actually its medicinal value is actually found ingrained in its bitter taste, and it dries up tumors from its very source, from my personal experiences. So that's what I'm gonna say. So the reason I'm doing this is for posterity's sake and for the sake of the indigents, people that that are hopeless, helpless, and helpless, people that don't have the money for chemotherapy and whatnot. So I'll just share with you different experiences that I've had over the course of years. First, I think my first experience was when I was a teenager. So it happened that on my left cheek, I just found out that there was a growth, a painless lump, and I had reasons to be concerned. So I just figured out that if sugary substances could cause cancerous growth, then something bitter would be able to, you know, reduce the effect. So the leaf called bitter leaf from my side of Nigeria, I had to just go get the fresh ones, and I had to scrub it and drink the bitter taste. Usually, the procedure of cooking bitter leaf is we scrub out the bitter taste from it and we make the soup in its sweet form. But the bitter juice from it, I just had to drink it, and over the course of days, I noticed that suddenly that the lump had disappeared till date. So I had no cause for alarm till date until there was a time in 2017 I was quite concerned about my the like as I felt like I was losing blood, like I didn't have sufficient blood in my system. So I communicated with my vegetable vendor, and she recommended that I take malted drink and mix it with scrubbed pumpkin leaf. So we call it ugu leaf in Nigeria. So I did that. Ideally, my experience is pumpkin leaf and milk, and I've done that since my university days, early university days. No adverse effect. But this time around, when I mix it with malted drink, I realized that I had two growths at the back of my ears, painless growths. So I felt really concerned, and I remembered having recourse to again to bitter leaf soup. The bitter taste was actually in it, not just the sweet taste, and it disappeared again. I later on realized that the person who recommended that I take the malted drink and the the pumpkin leaf had growth on her head, had a growth on her head, protruding growth on her head, which she used to cover. So the moral of this is you be careful of what you ingest. Many people say they don't smoke, they don't drink alcohol and things like that, and yet they have cancer. Maybe we should actually check what we ingest, because this might be a triggering forced to things like that. So from 2017, fast forward to 2019, when I moved into the UK. So I ran out of my rice called Ofada rice. So um, I went to the shopping mall to get rice. Then I bought basmati rice, and I had not even finished half of it. Was a small pack I bought. I had not even finished half of it when I realized that the growth I told you about in my teenage years on my cheek started protruding again, and I had a growth on the cleavage of my breast. I was really, really concerned, and as usual, I resorted to bitter leaf again, and luckily for me, everything went down. Like the growth dried off. The one on my cleavage, it was able to emit a pus finally, and it dried up also. So I was able to sort that out until there was a time in 2020 here in the UK as a course rep for the second masters, which I did. A colleague of mine came to visit, requesting for books, help to do his assignment and things like that. And the process of communicating with me, he told me about his challenges, his health challenges, having lymph nodes, and he showed me actually that he was going for surgery. So I told him I was going to do something that I've had experiences of, tumors and, swellings like that on my body, and what I actually do. So I went to the African shop at a time when I was really out of cash. I went to the African shop, and by then he had done part surgery, not everything, because they told him they couldn't remove all the lymph nodes on his neck and other places. They would just remove some. So I bought bitter leaf, and it was frozen bitter leaf I bought for him. Then it was still very bitter. So I took it to his apartment. He could not even come down to meet me at his house downstairs. I had to go upstairs, and I had to put him through how he was going to take it. So the procedure I told him then was that he was going to blend the bitter leaf, and when he blends it, he should prepare hot water somewhere else and dilute the bitter leaf so that it's going to have this warm effect. Because I realized that when you take something in its warm, in a not really room temperature but above room temperature, it actually permeates through all the body, and the healing effect actually, it works faster than when you just take it as a cold drink or so. So I think he did that. He really complained about the bad taste, but I can tell because 2 days after, he just went on a picnic. I mean, the healing of both the surgery and I believe the other lymph nodes just dried up, and within 2 days he was going out on a picnic with his friends and things like that. So that brings me to one of the some of the benefits of taking bitter leaves. Bitter leaf, when you take it, it actually helps against depression and mood swings. It helps in hair growth. It helps in hair growth. It helps against um what else? Against depression. It helps against depression. It dries up cancer from its roots. It has whole lot of benefits. Some even say it actually cleanses the kidney and things like that. But I am very sure, I'm persuaded to think that it flushes toxic substances and toxins out of the system. So so after my colleague's experience, in 2021, in March, that's last year. So I recall somebody negligently punching me on my left eye, and in within 3 days, it affected my right eye, and I realized there was a growth under my lower eyelid, and that growth was on my lower eyelid for weeks until I could relocate back to my base here in Hartfield, Hertfordshire, UK. So I had to go to the market, to the African shop, bought again bitter leaf, cooked bitter leaf soup in its bitter form, and that was how the growth that was there for weeks dried up completely. Now, another experience was last year 2021 November again. Okay, I actually did not bear in mind the first experience of eating basmati rice and blah blah. So I was at a place where I couldn't buy the usual rice I used to buy. So again, I purchased basmati rice, a small pack in another shop, different from the one I had experienced in 2019. And that same week, I started experiencing pain in my nipples, the both of my nipples, lower back pain, and I wasn't menstruating at that time. I was not menstruating at all. So I was actually concerned what could be triggering all of this. So the excruciating pain on my nipples continued, and I was experiencing crusting on my areola, on my breast, and I realized that there were two soft lumps on my right areola. And with that came excruciating pain to my armpits, to my spinal cord. It was so excruciating that I could, I mean, putting on a bra was really like an Herculean task, like so painful. So at that time, I realized that the bitter leaf, the frozen bitter leaf sold at the African shop, they had reduced the bitter taste. So I was using the procedure, and I noticed I wasn't getting the desired result. So I went as far as London to purchase fresh bitter leaves, and by the time I blended it with lemon, emphasis on lemon, because I tried lime and I didn't like the results. So by the time I blended it with lemon, that's bitter leaf. For those who don't know what bitter leaf is, this is bitter leaf. This is the dried one. So I used the fresh one and lemon and African ginger, not the very big ginger, no, not the bogus ones, the medium sized ginger. You can still perceive the aroma when you cook and things like that. And lemon with bitter leaf, emphasis on the bitter taste of bitter leaf. So then I used the fresh one, and I noticed that the one of the lumps, the soft lumps, was producing not, it wasn't emitting anything though, but I could peel it off at that point. It was drying up and I could peel it off at that point, even though the lump had been there for months with a pain, me trying to use the frozen bitter leaf as usual. So when I use these three things, that's the ginger, lemon, and the fresh bitter leaf. So I realized that it actually worked for me, and ever since then, the crossing of my areola stopped because it affected both of my nipples and my areola. At some point, I experienced coldness of my breast, inverted nipples, and the fear, the feeling that comes with you having something on your, and I'm very scared of needles. So having to go for biopsies and somebody piercing you with sharp object in order to be able to decipher whether it's cancer or not. All of the symptoms were there. Every time I witness the symptoms, I just go on Google to verify what's actually happening to me. When I feel coldness of my breast, I go and check the pain in my spinal cord, to my armpits, to both of my breasts and things like that. So, in summary, I used the bitter leaf, the fresh one with the lemon and ginger, blended it like blended it into a smoothie, and I always dilute it with hot water in order to produce the quick effect. And that was how I got my perfect healing. At that time, I could not continue to consume, that is, eat those things I would desire. Like, I had to stop eating quite a lot of things, and I would put you guys through what I had to stop eating. But That was how I got my healing, and I'm so much grateful to God for the wisdom He gave me to be able to do that. Else, I don't know, like seeing people die. A lot of things are killing people and decimating mankind's population, but I mean, cancer should not be one of that. So that was how I got my healing, and in July, that's the latest one. I went to the mall, one of these departmental stores, to get some things, and the mall of my desire was shut down for repairs that fateful day. So I went to the next supermarket. Unfortunately for me, shelved on in this supermarket stores is this pasta. I don't know, I don't think you guys will be able to see it. It's dated, the best before date is 22, the best before date 22 4 2022, unknown to me, and I purchased two on the 17th of July 2022. So I purchased it, and on the 19th of July I cooked one pasta, ate one before going to for my job, and during the break time I had the remaining, and I noticed the taste was just like what, okay, maybe it's just one of those things. And at work my 2 feet ankles started swelling up disproportionately. So I dipped my hands into it, and it produced that, that effect of, going deep down, and I was greatly alarmed. Then I didn't even realize it was what I had consumed. So the next day I cooked the second pasta, and I was quite inquisitive that why did my leg swell up the day before. So I was just like trying to decipher what the ingredients were, what I'm actually reacting to, and things like that. And that day was a Wednesday, so I fasted on that day, and I was to break my fast. So that was how I had another pasta, and after to break my fast, and I realized that the pasta was actually outdated, shelved in the UK, outdated. This time around, that fateful night, by the time I woke up the next day, I was having pain at a strategic point in my spinal cord. The back of my neck was so painful, and all through that week till until recently, I could barely open my bowels, I could barely urinate. I had to go to my GP in order to just like complain, lodge complaint, and things like that. So I recall again that I have a panacea, something, a remedy, a standby remedy that, God has given me from teenage years. And I just had to just take again lemon, African ginger. By then, the fresh bitter leaf has been exhausted, and I can't actually travel to London at the moment. So I got the dry bitter leaf, put it in the blender, blend everything like a smoothie, mix it with hot water at every time I need to consume it, and that's how I got to be able to open my bowels, urinate properly, and I'm still gonna take it again and again and again. So I want to emphasize on the two lumps on my right areola that I experienced. So when that happened, I can feel the pain and the trauma that comes with it, because breast lump is not something that goes away quickly like that. In fact, if I have to show you right now, I still can't see with my own eyes the way. I can still say this is the shape of where it is, but except that the pain is not there anymore. Even if I have to take some of the things I should not eat, at least I don't feel the pain anymore. So then I used to take this almost like 2 3 times in a week, but now if I don't want to take it even in a month, I will not take it. So because I had taken it consistently and it had produced the medicinal effect, that it should produce. So there are some foods I would say I avoid. Okay, before then, an elderly person, I called an elderly person in my country, Nigeria, and the person was kind of complaining that he had leg pain and has not been able to go to church for a long time and blah blah. And this person is from my tribe, Yoruba. So I had to tell the person I believe bitter leaf has medicinal effects. If he would try it, I believe he's gonna see the positive result. And he tried it, and I got feedback from him that he's getting better, and I could see from his tone of voice he sounds happy, and that boils down to what I told you earlier. Bitter leaf, drinking bitter leaf can also enhance your mood. Like, it actually helps against depression. I can say that categorically with all sense of belonging, that bitter leaf also helps against depression apart from cancer, and it helps to in hair growth. You know, cancer, whenever people have cancer, it's their hair fall away and things blah blah like that. No, bitter leaf actually helps to grow hair naturally like that. So I naturally have long hair. So if I have to show you my hair is long, but that notwithstanding, bitter leaf actually helps in hair growth. Um, so these are the meals, these are the things I don't take. And if I ever have to take them, it's because I'm getting well. But there is one in particular I will never consume. And top on the list is basmati rice. I will never, ever eat basmati rice anywhere. And that makes me to be cautious of what I eat even outside. Like, maybe I'm getting something from the eatery, or I hardly do that though. But if I have to, basmati rice will not be on my menu at all. It will not be on my option at all, because I know the two experiences that I've had now has not been palatable, and I don't want any of such. So never again will I eat basmati rice. I don't know what's in there, but for my health, it's not good. My body reacts quickly to antigens. So, second is bread. I would scarcely eat bread. I would not, although I've eaten croissants a couple of times, maybe twice or three times, while I recuperated fully, not when I was going through the trauma of the lumps in the breast and things like that. I stopped eating bread, but I recently I could take croissants. So third on the list is eggs. Eggs. Except if I have to um spray some lemon juice on my fried eggs or things like that, I would be very cautious of eating egg. It's been long I even bought egg last, and I'm also going to. I'm actually skeptical of purchasing egg in some stores, because I noticed purchasing eggs in some stores in this country, the taste and maybe the health hazards for me it's a no no. So I have a particular departmental store I purchase my eggs from if I ever have to crave for eggs. So also cookies, biscuits, you know, it's better to be cautious in taking those things. Carbonated drinks, you've got to cut down. I did cut down on that. So I'm just saying this for people who are indigent, who can go through chemotherapy and all of the cost implications and the trauma, you know, or who are going through it but still are optimistic that nature has its best to heal these things. So carbonated drinks is a no-no for me. Cookies, biscuits, you know, once in a while your taste bud just want to take something, but at least I'm sure I'm healed and I'm careful of what I ingest. So um also candies, chocolates, canned foods, sugar, I'm very careful, very careful. It was so bad when I had the lumps in the breast, to the extent that even when I took prunes and some types of honeys, some honey purchased from different places, you know, my body was reacting that bad. But now I believe if I take honey, I wouldn't have any bad reaction to it, because I've ingested a lot of this bitter leaf juice smoothie to the extent that I believe I'm ill and healthy. And on now, I'll give a word of caution. Bitter leaf, because of its bitter content and the healing effect, I believe it weakens the feet. I did not realize this quickly because during my early 20s, I realized I was always very weak. I never knew it was the bitter leaf and blah blah like that. So, bitter leaf juice can weaken you physically, even though it's actually healing you. It can also weaken you and make you less energetic. So, what I do is that I get an unripe plantain. There's something called plantain in Nigeria. So I get an unripe plantain. This is what an unripe plantain looks like. It's not a banana, it's unripe plantain. And I boil it, and in I boil it in this oil form. And when I boil it, when it's boiled, I open it up and discard with a peel and consume the content. You don't consume it with a peel. You only consume the content inside. So I should have kick started this by saying that I'm not a medical practitioner. I'm a legal practitioner and not a medical practitioner. So if you would take that as a disclaimer, fine. But this is what I do that works for me, and I don't need to be a qualified medical practitioner to be able to share my experiences of the healing effect I've gotten from bitter leaf, the bitter taste of bitter leaf, not just bitter leaf, because like I told you, it's a bittersweet vegetable. We consume it on a regular basis. But if you don't consume the bitter taste, you cannot get the medicinal value in it. So I bought this unripe plantain and I consume it to be able to get my energy back to the basics. So that's that for now. And that's basically everything I think I would share on this. And if anybody has questions in this regard, you can drop your questions and I should be able to answer if I can. And if any medical practitioner is watching this or scientist and you want to verify the medicinal effects and contents of bitter leaf or whatever I'm trying to say, you can, imbue on this and it's going to be for the good of everybody. So thank you for the audience. Thank you for watching. Bye.